Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, goedemiddag. I don't have any presentation slides, so I demand your attention, and hopefully you can enjoy my presentation. I deliberately didn't make any slides presentations because I got bored. Over the last 13 years, I was working as a scientist, lecturer, researcher, economic geographer, based in the UK. So every day, when I give it to my students, they came from different variety of levels, undergrad, that's what we call bachelor in the UK, master program, DBA, and PhD. So I give them my slides, and I got sort of bored. So therefore, despite my hectic time schedule over the last 2 weeks, I've made the decision, no presentation slides. So hopefully, the attendees will enjoy my live presentation. There is no slide handout whatsoever, so if you don't turn up, that is your loss. This is particularly if you're talking about entrepreneurship. The right pronunciation is only French can pronounce that perfectly because it's from French word, entrepreneurship. Okay? Perhaps in Indonesian we call it kewirausahaan. In Dutch, Mas Fajar, ondernemerschap, onderneming, yeah?
Ondernemerschap, yeah.
Absolutely, okay. So there we go. Talking about entrepreneurship, it's a murky word. It's a beautiful but also spiky at the same time. Why? Because what you have heard so far is the beauty and the excitement of this journey. However, there are some pitfalls, there are some myths that you have to realize. That's the trade-off between being entrepreneur or being career-minded person, follow the tenure track, if you like. So what I'm going to tell you about is basically sort of the triangulation that I have over the last 13 years. I moved from Indonesia, I was born in Indonesia, British educated, I work in Europe now. Married to a Dutchman, because he didn't want to go to to UK, so I moved here. What I'm going to tell you is the triangulation of my experience, my research, empirical studies, but also my responsibility from being a scientist, academic, now also a business entrepreneur, but I call myself at the time edupreneur. And also now as a regulator, as a banker. You have mentioned the second speaker, the importance of banking institution to fund your business. That is very murky and tricky. So there we go. So I'm thinking while sitting there, what sort of role I have to talk about. As a scientist, although I don't have any affiliation in any university now, but I've got a lifetime fellowship from Regional Studies Association. And that's another word to do another publication. Because if you keep doing your publication, then you can be active research, although you haven't got academic affiliation. Because I cannot, because I'm full-time BNI, Bank Negara Indonesia. So the thing that I'm going to share with you is try to wrap up the things and the story which has been told by the first and the second speaker. And I just want to fill some hiccups from the academic perspective, from the ervaring, the experience, and also some insight. Entrepreneur. Who wants to be entrepreneur? Please hands up. You are the exception, Mas Fajar, you become already. So at least let's say 50% from this crowd, they would love to be entrepreneur. My next question basically, how do you know about entrepreneur? Have you learned about entrepreneur? Or you just want to, this is what we call as the hype. Yeah, everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. This is great. You can be your own boss. I can manage my own time schedule. I can work in pajama. I don't have to work 9 to 5. I can deal with all the excitement. That is brilliant. However, have you learned and think about the trade-off? If you're not working 9 to 5, what are the consequences? If you are still single, it's not a big deal. You just have to fulfill your own needs. You just have to pay a bill for one person. However, if you have tails, 2 kids, if you have a family, if you're already married, and in this relationship, you are the breadwinner, then you have another responsibility on your shoulder. You cannot, being selfish, I want to be the boss of myself. And then you're like, oh yes. So, what about my monthly income, honey? Can you provide our kids with something? Well, actually, so they think. 9 to 5 means you will have stable income. And within 9 to 5, hopefully within a week, you just work 38, 40 hours. But being an entrepreneur, there is no stability in terms of your income monthly. You get or you take what you put. The more you do in terms of working, it's not just hard. Nowadays, you have to work smart. This is very old school acronyms. In MBA, I always teach my students, you have to work very smart. Oh yes, we do know. We do know the acronyms. Do you know what they are? Please mention it.
Specific.
Exactly. And M?
Measurable.
Exactly. Or? A first?
Acceptable.
Sorry?
Attainable.
Attainable or assignable. And the other one? Or? I'm not trying to, I'm not being a lecturer now. I'm not going to preach you, but I just want to bring some memories. It's not working hard, but smart. Specific, measurable, attainable, or assignable, realistic. Exactly, time scaled. Because if you're just working hard, that's not enough. Nowadays, we are talking about knowledge-based economy. This is knowledge-based economy 2.0. That's what I call as a researcher. You're not just working like in the past, working to factory. This is individual-based innovation, creativity, entrepreneurship. Okay? So 9 to 5 means that you will get monthly income stable. Whether you are lazy or not, the government or your institution will pay that amount of money. But however, you have some, I feel a bit distracted because this is mundane, this is banal. It's 9 to 5 and I got sort of bored with this. Okay, then you might do another adventure. So before you become entrepreneur, try to do intrapreneur. What is that? This is sort of the quality, the traits, the analytical thinking. Before you venture out, you work for somebody else first. Intrapreneur can be you do apprentice or apprenticeship. You are being an intern. You are still an employee. But within this period of time, you have a set time of goal in your mind. 10 years from now, I would like to do this. But now you're still saving in terms of your social capital, financial capital, networks, experience, credential, among others. Because if you want to dare yourself being an entrepreneur, there's also a luck factor. And where do you want to start your business? If you start in developing country, with all due respect, you might have a great success. Why? Because in terms of legislation, and we call it Chamber of Commerce, and all the fiscal regulation is still weak and loose. Do that in developed countries. That will be a different case. Mas Fajar have proved that. It's not that easy like that. So you can be a good entrepreneur from emerging nation because there is still some lack of regulation to regulate a truly entrepreneur. That's why in Indonesia, the number is still 2%, because some of them, they are still informal and not registered. The parameters for the entrepreneur basically is revenue and how much tax you will get. You will get tax. This is what we call a VAT, but BTW in Dutch, yeah, VAT, value added tax. And then how many how many employees you've got? Because small, medium-sized enterprise, no thought 50 or 50%, we call it small, and it's leveling up like that. And also, what about the R&D outcome? If you're talking about high-tech company, have you got money to do R&D? So they have a different parameters to be called whether you are entrepreneur or not. Sadly, in Indonesia, this parameter is not fixed yet. So the data is always from Ministry of Entrepreneurship and such. I don't know, they merged this ministry, not sure. And also the Indonesian statistical data, DTS. But on the ground, it's huge. Everybody can claim that I'm an entrepreneur because the regulation of Indonesian contract, they are still weak and loose. Although you are full-time, and then you can do another side job. Selling, mas, mbak bro, or sister. You are using the Facebook, which is fine, because that's the platform for the developing country. You tap into this market, it's e-business, and there's no regulation. You do it here, sometimes you have to be careful. Okay? Where am I? So there you go, and talking about this is always tangling, yeah? Entrepreneurship, again, 9 to 5, you have stable income, but being entrepreneur, there is no promise that you will get stable income. Perhaps this month you will get a lot of clients, but another 3 months, you will not get a clients. And how will you survive in terms of paying the bills? Have you thought about that? And if you're just being small and business enterprise, just working for yourself, you don't have to be really worried about paying the employees. What about if you have to hire somebody else? They do have a family as well. So basically, this is trickle-down effect. The ripple effect is great. Will you dare that challenge? If so, go ahead, but don't be naive. Yeah? So, there's always myth, success, and fail. So as a lecturer, as a scientist, I said, it's great if you want to be an entrepreneur. You are very idealistic, I want to help others. Great. I want to be a boss for myself. Excellent. You have your own freedom, but at the same time, within your freedom time, you have to think strategic. Okay, Monday to Thursday, that's my technical things. Weekend, I like to do that for family. But being an entrepreneur, sometimes it's the other way around. Weekend, you have to please or to entertain or to showcase your business to clients because that's their time. Are you prepared to take that? If so, do it. If not, So do not just look up the successful entrepreneur. Oh, they're great. There is a lot of trajectories, pitfalls, path dependencies. That's what we call in scientific terms. It's like roller coaster. Put it in a way, it's like a McDonald's logo. You know the logo of McDonald's? M. It is. Okay? So it's excellent to be an entrepreneur, but you have to understand how would you equip yourself being a successful, versatile, robust entrepreneur. So I was observing from the first speaker and the second speaker, mentioning basically if I put them into some route, it's about knowledge and skill. There is a myth, oh, you don't need to go to university to be entrepreneur. Everybody can be entrepreneur. Do you believe that? What do you think? You think so? What are you doing at the moment? Are you studying?
Yes, but I also worked for a little while.
Right. Back in Indonesia or
Yeah,
other countries?
in Indonesia.
Okay. So basically, you can say, yeah, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you don't need to go to formal education. You just do it. Okay? This is interesting. One of my colleagues, he was doing entrepreneurship methodology. So excuse my language, but this is what he said. I just copied what he said. Doing entrepreneurship is just like Kama Sutra. Just do it. I said, ooh, he's Italiano. So there we go. Basically, and I was thinking, actually, he's quite right. Why? There is no one single recipe. The recipe is case by case. Every individual, they live in different time, they live in different geographical space, they live in different situation, they face different competition. So ask yourself, as Fajar was absolutely spot on when he mentioned do your self-analysis. SWOT is not just for your business, but for yourself. A great entrepreneur is the one who can spot what I'm good at. What is my talent? And you have to understand, if I'm not good at this, I will outsource to others, job delegation. Because if you're forced doing that thing, you will fail, or you will go bankrupt, or you will lose other straight off. Well, you have to dare that. Give it to someone else. So there you go. Formal education, talking about knowledge. You can get knowledge nowadays even from ICT, from Wikipedia, from YouTube, from all those sources. In other words, knowledge, you can get it from informal and formal education. Those people who are born with innate characteristic, with the gene of being an entrepreneur, they might be successful. However, we'll see in the longevity of their business life cycle whether he or she can be sustainable or not. That's another story. For example, I've done this research in terms of gene and ethnic. In Indonesia, we can call the Chinese ethnicity or some ethnic from, let's say, Padang. They have a gene of being a good trader. They said it runs in the family. Actually, yes. Why? You believe in maternity? The life, while you were in the womb of your mom, it is also a part of the life cycle of the fetus. And prenatal life, it happens. Perhaps the mother was busy doing business and, it is psychologically is affecting. And when this baby is born in the family, 24/7, who are dealing with the business, the first exposure he or she gets is the business. Whether the parents get a formal education in terms of business and science or technology, or it's just informal. Because basically, economy or business is simple. It's the meeting of supply and demand. Bang! You can make it money. Simple as that. Okay? So that's why the myth basically, entrepreneur can be born. Might be yes, might be not. We'll see. If he is born with a gene, but he doesn't nurture the talent, he must just go on with the slips. It's a waste of talent. That's why a good parent is a parent who can see, he's got something, he's got a special talent. Nurture the environment, starting from the family. Not just better late than never, but the earlier, the better. Okay? And the other one, still talking about knowledge. If you go to university, or if you get a business degree or engineering degree, it is also a good thing. Why? Because you've got the theory. You know how to analyze the problem. It's not just do and don'ts list. So for example, in your future life, either being staff or entrepreneur, You can see, oh, I've got the problem. So you think how to solve this problem analytically, not just guessing. And for those who are doing their study at university, research teaching university, this is the thing you will get from your university. Because now it's dilemma for the parents. Should I send my kids to university or to polytechnic or Hogeschool school or to University of Applied Sciences? Because the tuition fee is different. Perhaps you might not feel this here in the Netherlands, not yet though, but in England, you have to pay higher tuition fee, 9,000 sterling per year for undergrad. That's a lot of money, unless you are coming from a rich family. But if you are coming from disadvantaged family, the parents has, think, if you go to university, once you graduated, can you get a job? It's also a big puzzle question. But if you go for apprenticeship, this is slightly less expensive. But after that, you might get a job, but it's a low-skilled job. So, parents, I was based at the business school. So we are the counselor, we are also lecturer, we are also enterprise center officer, we're also dealing with career, enterprise things. So this is a trade-off. This is the thing that we always tell to parents. If you want your kids to have more exposure, analytical skill, and more career path, please go to university. If he or she is just happy being worker, and the career path is less demanding, then go to polytechnic or go to apprenticeship. Why? Because some of those people, these kids, when they go to university, they can get a bigger networks. They can go to other countries using university training, etc. And then you can analyze, you know how to do process rather than outcome. It's about the journey. You know how to analyze the problem. Okay? So there you go, that's a trade-off. That's about knowledge. So you can, entrepreneur, they can go to, they can get informal and formal education. But of course, the ideal entrepreneur is the one who can have bit of both. Informal, because they're already being tested on the ground. Oh, I don't have that theory. I don't know how to do that. But actually, what I am doing is testing out my product. That's what we call market research. That's what we call piloting. They just don't know it's called that terms, right? Particularly the one who doesn't have a formal degree, but he has passion. And he's been in the business for a couple long times, it's fine. But nowadays, the young entrepreneur, don't be naive. If you want to do this, do it more sensible ways. You've got the formal degree, you've got the experience, you've got the networks, and if you haven't got any experience yet, but you want to learn, do the entrepreneurship first. So basically, in terms of paying your bills, while being a staff or, co-workers, you can expand your ideas. Okay, this is how I deal with this. Okay, perhaps you can steal the client's list. This happened to my brother-in-law. He's brilliant in terms of marketing. He's not really clever compared to my husband. My husband is intelligent, that's what I call. But his brother is smart. Slightly different. Intelligent is good at theory, that's why he's a researcher. But my brother-in-law is a businessman. And his background is financial law in terms of belasting advisor, fiscal internationally. And he worked for Ernst & Young in the Netherlands for, I think, 15 years or so. And once upon a time, he decided, I want to dare myself, I want to go out of the Netherlands. So the company gave him an option. Either you go to India or you go to Russia. So he said, right, India, it's challenging. I don't dare myself to go there. So he chose Moscow. So he worked there for, let's say, 6 years. But he was a clever man. While working for ASEAN, and then he was making a good relationship. This is what we call networks. Social capital. Building trust for the clients. So that's why, at some point, he said, okay, I don't want to work for ASEAN anymore. I know the recipe. I've got the networks. The client trusts me. So it's about individual, knowledge-based 2.0. It's not about the firm, it's individual. So he said, okay, I went back to the Netherlands, and then this is importance of your alumni networks. Kiska, you mentioned about the importance of alumni. Yep. That is absolutely true. Actually, this is the model of American Business School, which some of the European business schools try to copy this model. Maintain the alumni network. American Business School, they have an alumni reunion and also meeting, but it's not just, butter and bread. It's about business. Oh, I've got this company, so this happening, I would like to have a new fresher, a new startup. Let's get some students because they are still cheap. Indeed. So this is American model. During the alumni events, there's also a business event. So what he did, he called up his old mate, and then they made a company. And each of these individuals, they've got already financial capital, social capital, networks, and they do know how to run the business. Because each of them, they have previously worked for other big companies, one of the big 4. So voila, now they're happy. Although now in Russia it's very slightly interesting situation, but that's the challenge, okay? So that's the idea of knowledge. You can get it from formal, you can get it from informal. The ideal is having a bit of both. And experience, for those who are doing studies at research teaching university, don't be cocky. Excuse my language. Don't be cocky saying, right, I'm, Delft University or Eindhoven University or Vrije University. You might not get the chance to get a workplace. The position might be taken over by those who are just from homeschool. Why? Because they already trained to be a worker and they are ready on the market. They are ready. But you sometimes just have the theory, assignment, project, but actually have you got work experience to deal with a customer? Can you prove that? By the end of the day, you go to employer. And I was working in the UK, I was part of the selecting committee. So I got bored of this. So I said, oh, this is interesting, okay. And then another thing is keep reinventing yourself. If you got bored in something, move to other things. But make a risk analysis. If I lose this one, what will I get from the new venture? If it's not interesting and it's not profitable, stick it for a while. Okay? So, right, okay, you've got 2 candidates. What have you got? This is my diploma, cum laude. Okay, good, okay. The other one, I've got the same thing, cum laude. All right, okay. So have you got work experience? Actually, not quite. All right, okay. And you, of course, over the last 6 months while I was finishing my thesis, blah, blah, blah. So I've got internship and this is justification, this is, all right, you can talk more about your star quality. So at the end of the day, it's not about who is doing smarter in terms of pursuing education formally, but who can convince the workforce how to solve the company's problem. Okay? And then if you can solve their problem, then you hire you instead of you're fired. Have you seen the apprentice program? Not because I was in the UK, but if you have a time, rather than, of course, it's fine to see Holland's Got Talent or others, okay? It's absolutely fine. It's, you have to be relaxed. But if you have a time, look at The Apprentice, either the US or the UK one. The Asia